Donovan Ezeiruaku won't be easy to replace, but I'll tell you exactly how Tim Lewis will do it today on Locked On Boston College.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider. I've been covering Boston College for over a decade. If you're looking for Boston College news, analysis, and the scoops that you're looking for about your Eagles, you are in the right place. We are a daily Boston College podcast available 5 days a week for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. On today's show, I want to tell you about Dawson Pugh. He's a freshman you need to know. The secondary, they're not just going to be good, they're going to be great. And the pass rush, without Donovan Ezeiruaku, will it be enough? I'll explain why Tim Lewis has the answer. Let's get into it. So, I've been watching camp, but there's only one more practice left today on Thursday. And then we are into Fordham game week. As someone covering all week, all summer, I'm so pumped because I'm ready for this season to get started. And one of the things that has stood out to me about Boston College football so far watching camp is that I don't think this defense is getting enough credit. I think this defense, even without Donovan Ezeiruaku, even without Cam Horsley, they are going to be better than people are expecting. For the first two segments of the show, I'm going to explain why. Because I've watched enough practice to feel confident that they're going to be better than people are expecting. So, Donovan Ezeiruaku last year had 16 and a half sacks, led the country, and then ended up the second-round draft pick to the Dallas Cowboys, who are in their Micah Parsons era right now, where they're struggling to figure out what to do with him. But he's gone. Cam Horsley is gone. Most of your pass rush is gone. So I get it. You know, folks were worried going into the season. Where is this pass rush going to come from? And I think BC has some answers. The first answer is Quintavious Hutchin. I said during the spring when I watched him practice that this guy has a motor unlike anyone I saw on this team. Just high intensity, high drive, really the pass rusher that you really need. And the fact that it was a fun story going from he was recruited as a tight end to what looked almost like a walk-on defender to now you're the guy that you are relying on to defender. It's really a fun story. But watching him, he earns every piece of praise that he gets. Because I really do think Quintavious Hutchin, now that the pressure is on him, he will be good enough to be a good pass rusher in the ACC. He had 3.5 sacks last year, which isn't great. But you got to remember, Neto Ekpala started as your starting defensive edge against opposite Donovan Ezeiruaku. But it was Hutchins who was a practice warrior and came out and earned that spot. And once he earned it, he never was giving it back. He had many, many game-altering plays when he really got into that spot. So I really do think Q's going to be a big one. Now, it's that second spot. How is Tim Lewis going to find somebody on this roster to fill that spot? And as camp wraps up, there's a number of names of guys I think that could really do it. Favor Bate, the transfer from Merrimack, he's been the story of the camp because he took from spring where he was like, oh, this is a guy that can actually play, to the summer where this is a guy that's going to be playing soon. And now he's out there. And I think Bate is a guy with a high motor, even like that matches Hutchins really. But the talent to be that edge rusher that you really desperately need. I've watched him during camp, and he is a Merrimack guy. Bill O'Brien has said, he's still learning. He's a guy that came over as a defensive tackle, and he's moving to edge, but he's learning fast. I think he's going to be someone. The other name that has popped up more and more and more is Edwin Kalengi. Edwin Kalengi, go back to 2023, the last year of Jeff Hafley. Kalengi was the edge that I thought would be the guy that goes opposite Donovan Ezeiruaku. Last year, he was invisible. You saw him play a little bit at times, but really, it was kind of disappointing, to be frank. You just didn't see him do all that much because it was Akpala and Hutchins that really got those snaps. During camp, Kalengi has got good size, and he really looks like, if there's anyone on this defense that really has jumped in their second year under Tim Lewis, it's Kalengi. Like, he just looks like he's got it. And as practices continue to stack during the summer, it's more Kalengi that really has taken advantage of those opportunities and those snaps. So I look at Edward Kalengi and I say, there's a guy right there that could really take that leap, that could really maybe add more snaps. And I'm not sure if it's him or Bate that becomes that second edge rusher, but I could see that. And then there's a third name. There's a third edge rusher that you're going to watch for, and that's Josiah Griffin. Now, folks that are everydayers that have listened since last year, you know that I've talked about Josiah from last year, and he could be someone, and he continues to push during camp. So he's another name. But it's not just edge rushers. Edge rushers do get a lot of pressure, but remember last year was Horsley too. So what about that interior defense? So I look at someone like Quan Williams, and I look at someone like Ced McConnell. Those are two names on defense on that edge, on that line. For in terms of you're just going for, the typical four-man front that goes towards that quarterback, those are the two I would watch for. I think those are guys that I think could be really impactful. And they're going to cycle in other guys. Owen Stodmeyer has not been around because he got hurt. But there's other guys like Chris Marable, and there's other guys on that line that, like Ty Clemens, who had a fumble recovery on Wednesday. They're going to get the pressure too. So I don't see everything as a one-to-one replacement. You're not going to replace Donovan Ezeiruaku. But if you can make your defense versatile and get that pass rush come from a variety of spots, whether it's Hutchins or Bate or Kalengi or Quan Williams or Ty Clemens, there is your pass rush. I think this group can do it. I think there's more options to get to that pass because, times last year, that second edge rush didn't get much in terms of pressure. I think that'll change this year. I think there's good talent. I think Tim Lewis is going to actually, not just the personnel, but play design, get more pressure on the quarterback. And that could be anybody, whether it's Bam Crouch or Jason Hewitt or Owen McGowan or KP Price or Omar Thornton. There's enough guys that they can send at different spots to put that pressure on that quarterback to get that ball out faster than that quarterback needs to get, or to sack. All of that will happen. And I think there's enough talent on this defense that people don't know about to get that pressure. In a moment, we're going to get to the secondary because they're not just going to be good, they're going to be great. I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis, but you've even maybe tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiette Ready. Rugiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rugiette might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. I love that it's completely online. Rugiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to rougiette.com/lockedoncollege and use code lockedoncollege to get 15% off today. That's Rougiette, RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege, RUGIET.com, and use promo code lockedoncollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. Locked on Boston College, AJ Black here. And for all of you who are everydayers, if you listen to Locked on Boston College every day, you have been listening to all my camp coverage. We are one of the only sites that has been at every single Boston College practice. I've been there. I'm giving you all the insight that you need to know about your Eagles as they get ready to start the season off against Fordham. And if you haven't made us your first listen, I'm telling you, you have missed out on a single thing. Now, for my camp coverage, as someone who has been at camp, and I've been to 12, 13, 14 practices, I can tell you confidently the secondary is something to talk about. They are the strongest positional group on Boston College's roster right now. And they are going to win Boston College football games this year because there is just so much talent on that group. Watching every practice, you see the guys that you expect. KP Price, he looks like a man out there. Like, he's just a dude. Like, everywhere. Big physical safety. He is going to be an NFL caliber safety and could end up in the NFL next year if he decides to. But just, hey, he's smart. He's physical. He knows exactly what he's going to do. We saw him get that interception against Nebraska last year. Like, he can change games in just a snap of the football. Next to him, it's the big question. Is it going to be Omar Thornton or is it going to be Carter Davis? My gut says they're going to do both. A heavier emphasis potentially on Omar Thornton, but Davis has his own thing. So here's what you got here at your free safety position. You got Thornton, who is a sophomore this year. I love Omar Thornton because he was the last guy Jeff Hafley brought in. This kid from Florida, I think it was Plantation, that no one knew about. All of a sudden, he comes in. He plays last year, and people start to watch him at safety and go, there's something there. At camp, this guy is you may think I'm just, blowing smoke here. Thornton is a wrecking ball when he's out there. Price is physical. Omar Thornton is a threat every time he goes after anyone with the ball. He's violent. I don't want to say he's reckless because it's not reckless. That's not the right word to it, but just like he just all out, like Charlie Hustle every play out there. And that is going to be huge. Like, just think about the runs. You need your safety to be out there to help out and protect on some of those runs, especially when your defensive line may not be the strongest that you have. Thornton is not going to be afraid. He's going to go out there against some of these running backs and just go 60 miles an hour into some of those running backs and not even care. And it's going to stop plays. That's what he does. He's really good. The other side of that ball, that flip the coin, is you got Carter Davis, who is an absolute ball hawk. During camp this year, he's one guy that you can always depend on in your secondary to make plays in terms of making interceptions. Now, Thornton does that too. But both of these guys, Carter and Thornton, are going to make those kind of plays. That's just the safety spots. You go down to the cornerbacks, and you have four guys right now that could play and start right on any ACC team. Start with Max Tucker, Catholic Memorial, big time player. He is tough. He's been going mano-a-mano against a lot of these cornerbacks this year. And these wide receivers, and he holds his own every single time. He may get beat here and there, but he is tough as nails. Liked what he's doing. You have Amari Jackson coming back. We're not talking about enough about what Amari Jackson means to the secondary because going into 2024, he was your lockdown corner. Now you get him back, and he looks great. He looks as ready to go as any guy on your roster. And I'm not sure. Yeah, and I can't even tell you where the cornerback snaps are going to go. But I'm going to tell you, Amari Jackson's ready for it. And then if you're going corners, you got to go with the star of camp. This is the guy on both sides of the ball. You got Kalen Chudzinski on offense, who has blown me away. On the defense, it's Syair Torrence. Syair Torrence is as fearless as it gets for a cornerback. On Wednesday, I watched him go one-on-one. He can't be more than he's not over 6 feet tall. He's going against Reed Harris on red zone drills. Reed Harris is 6'5" with arms that make him look like a basketball player. Dylan Lonergan goes and throws a fade just to try to get Harris to get up there and get it. Torrance didn't care. He just went up there and stole it. That's what kind of and it's not just against Harris. It's been against Bolden. It's been against Reed, Lewis Bond. It's Jaden Skeet. He is going to be a star. Syair Torrence, maybe not this year. Maybe this year he's just starting to show what he can do. But he is going to play. And I don't want to also, and so those are three. The fourth one was a guy that came in last year. We didn't see, I wouldn't have expected him to come in as a freshman, but he tried really hard and played well at times. That's Ashton McShane out of Texas. You might remember he had, he let up a touchdown against Louisville. He let up a touchdown against Virginia. But other than that, he did his best as you could expect for a freshman. On Wednesday, again, saw him making a bunch of plays out there. His technique is great. They had one-on-one drills. And I saw Ashton McShane just going like textbook coverage against some of the wide receivers. And we don't talk about it. We're talking about Torrance. We're talking about all the safeties. He's going to be a big part. So you get all of these guys, your good safeties, your deep cornerbacks. You've lost Ezeiruaku. But what I really think this defense has gained is a secondary that's going to make them a pain in the neck against any offense. Clemson may be tough because they have two of the best wide receivers in the country. But every other team on their schedule, they're going to have to run against a gauntlet at the secondary spot. If that secondary can hold up, it's going to make that front seven even more effective. I think that secondary is better than what they had last year. And having that will help you erase losing an Ezeiruaku. I think this defense as a whole is more talented than what we had last year. Yes, you lost your star. But you look up and down this roster, and I didn't even mention the linebackers. I think there's more talent and more development there that's going to make, as a whole, this defense even better. You're looking at the linebacker spot. Bam Crouch is all over the place at practice. He is smart. He's intelligent, as Owen McGowan told us. And then you have Jason Hewlett, probably next to him, who's also all over the place. All of this is going to make your defense as a whole a more effective unit. I felt what BC did last year was they had I don't want to say generational, but really, really good star player that really masked a lot of other issues that went on with that defense. You look at what the defense did in pass yards allowed. They were 99th in the country. Now you should have the guys to prevent that. And as long as you get some decent pressure, you don't have to be as dynamic as you were last year. But I trust Tim Lewis to figure out ways to get to that quarterback. If that happens, this defense will be better than last year. It may not be as exciting because you don't have that, stud up the middle, but there's enough other guys that are going to make plays that'll keep your attention. Now, in our final segment, I want to get into a offensive player that I haven't talked about and has really opened my eyes during camp. I'll explain who this guy is and why you should know about him in just a moment. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. It's this weekend. Whether you've got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. I love the running back position. Saquon Barkley, give me the over on whatever his season picks are. You can find it there. You can find his game matchups. Maybe he's playing against a weak rush defense. You can get the over there. You can also look at, Stephon Diggs for the Patriots. Hey, I'm a Pats fan. Maybe you can take that. And if you get more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, if you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Think about that, 2,000 times. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you're still doubling your money. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first play in $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. Run your game. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. If you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? I needed carpentry work. I called 4 people. First 2 people that got back to me, those were the people I picked. The other people who didn't, I moved on. That's why these people, and you need Open Phone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. If you juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate, Open Phone solves that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this. And the AI agent handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads, so I never miss a customer again. See why over 60,000 businesses trust Open Phone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedoncollege. That's openphone.com/lockedoncollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here. We're wrapping things up here on our last week of camp. Football, we're kicking off next week. We're going to have Fordham talk. We're going to Mitch Wolf on a couple times to get ready for that season. And this season, BC football is right around the corner. I know you're excited. I am too. So we'll talk all about that. And if you're a first listener, you're going to get all of your Boston College news early in the morning, whether you're doing your workouts, errands, getting to work. Make Boston College, Locked On Boston College, your first listen every single day. Now, I have told you about, some of the people to watch for. We've discussed Kalen Jasinski or Bo McCormick, 2 offensive players that have really caught my eyes. I've even discussed Ashton Cunningham and Marcellus Townsend, 2 defensive backs that have also kind of caught my eye. But there's another offensive player that has really, really started to up his game during camp, and that is Virginia freshman wide receiver Dawson Pugh, number 88. Now, over the last 2 weeks, he has become a favorite of Dylan Lonergan. Now, when Reed Harris was out for a little bit and Lewis Bond was out for a little bit, and we haven't seen a lot out of VJ Wilkins, it's been Pugh that's jumped in. Now, I have to say, when I watched him at camp during the spring, I thought Nedrick Bolden looked more like the freshman that could jump up and play early. Now, I look at Pugh, and I say to myself, that's the guy. He's running better routes. He's more physical out there, and his hands are just look good. That's not a knock on Bolden. Pugh has just been impressive, and he's earned a good reputation with Dylan Lonergan. So I'm not sure what's going on with VJ Wilkins. If he's going to play, we've heard about injuries from Bill O'Brien about him. He hasn't been 100%. if he's back, obviously he's going to play. But if he can't, maybe it's Pugh that we see. Maybe Pugh is a guy, come against Fordham that we watch and say, oh, there's that guy again. Because his offensive play has been really impressive. And it's gotten better and better as, we've gone from spring to summer. So as a true freshman, I could see him out there. Now you have your guys that you expect. Lewis Bond, Jaden Skeet, and Reed Harris. But wide receivers, sometimes you need a fourth, fifth, sixth guy. Maybe Pugh is going to be the one to watch for. So I want to make sure you know about him. So when you watch that Fordham game and you see number 88 out there, you're going, oh, AJ told me about him. He's someone to watch for because he's been getting better and better in these practices. On tomorrow's show, practice ends. This will be the final camp discussion, and we'll discuss what Mike Sidley had seen at camp. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check out everything you need to know about Locked On BC on YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok. I'm everywhere. I want to make sure you're there. And for the folks that did our trivia question, oh boy, the trivia question answers have been flying in. The question was, who are the two big quarterbacks in the 2008 ACC title season? And the answers were given by John Devaney and Chuck Bianco. Again, Chuck has been killing it. And the answers are Dominique Davis and Chris Crane. Good job to both of you for answering that question correctly. Now, I'm going to have a question that I want to ask, and everydayers may know this one. This is our trivia question for the day. It's one that I hate bringing up, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. 2013 Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State. 2014 Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State. Who was the kicker that missed the extra point in overtime? Put your answers in the comments section, and I will shout you out on tomorrow's show. Thank you all for following, and we'll see you all again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College. Your team every day.